Well, hello YouTubers, Mike here. Welcome back to my channel. Now, I know that my rock tumbling videos are not among the most popular videos on my channel, but I am surprisingly getting a lot of requests from people for updates on how the rock tumbling is going. So I put together a fairly short video here to show you the progress I have made so far. Okay, this stuff's been running for about a week on medium grit. Time to open it up and see what the rocks look like.
This should be interesting. Yep, the usual foamy stuff. Well, as per usual, I shall have to give these a good close look. I mean, the petrified wood I think is ready to go. Yeah, so I'll give these a good close look, and I'll give you a good close look on the bench too, okay?
Well, we got some nice pretty rocks here, and they're wet. Now, interestingly, I should have filmed it. In the bottom of that bucket, this bucket down here, underneath the colander, after I dumped off the orange foamy stuff, there was a thick layer of the silicon carbide grit down there. And it did not look like it was very broken down. So I'm thinking that that foam was kind of cushioning stuff. And maybe it wasn't working all that well. I mean, yeah, the petrified wood, that cleans up really nice. Some of these look good. But if I'm perfectly honest, I'm thinking I need at least another week in fine grit, or I should say medium grit. Love that flame jasper. At least another week. And I don't know. The foaming is a problem. It keeps things from working well here. So maybe a little more water? I don't know, because it did seem kind of dry when I dumped it out. So maybe a little more water and another week in medium grit, and maybe we'll be ready to go to fine grit. So that's what I'm thinking. Okay. Okay, in they go. Some of these stones are going to be beautiful. Absolutely beautiful when they're done. And they're getting there. They're getting there. Some of them I would say definitely are ready to go on, but quite a few of them aren't. So let's see. Last time I put in 4 heaping spoonfuls of grit. Either that was too much grit, or just the foam was making the grit ineffective. I don't know. But it did seem kind of dry. So I'm going to put some extra water in it this time and see what happens. Hopefully the foaming doesn't get worse. Alright, I was filling it up until the rocks were not quite submerged. Now I've just got them submerged. With just a little bit more grit. Or just a little bit more water. And I'm going to put in, since the grit didn't seem to be breaking down, I'm only going to put in 3 this time. Because there was still plenty of grit there. And it wasn't really any finer than what's here. Oh, also off camera, I cleaned the accumulated rubber debris off of the tumbler over here. It's built up from the casters and the rubber bands. So that looks a little better. Okay. And we'll check it out in another week or so. See you then. All right, it's been another week. Let's empty this out and see what we got. And by the way, I found a way that works better. If I double up the rubber bands on these rollers, they last a lot longer. Although they're looking a little worse for wear, they have lasted most of the last week. Single rubber bands wear through pretty quick. Also, I tried a rubber band here and a rubber band here. The ones on the drums tend to pop off pretty quickly. But doubling them up here, this seems to work really, really well. They last, get good traction on the drum, so that works anyway. Okay, let's see what's in here.
Okay, let's see what we've got this time. Oh, what we've got is a lot of debris from these trees landing in my colander. If you're watching this up north, you know your trees drop their leaves in the autumn. Oh my. Yeah, we got foam is what we've got. Here in Florida, our oak trees drop their leaves in the spring. Then they immediately bloom. So I am up to my ankles in oak leaves here. And the little flowers that the trees get when they bloom, we call them catkins. And they're falling down out of the trees now too. Okay, that was really foamy. So I'm thinking, this didn't really sound like it was, Get caterpillars coming down out of the trees too. This didn't really sound like it was working all that well. And it was all foamy again. So I'm thinking that foam is the problem. I mean the petrified wood. This is looking pretty good, of course, but it always does. This little bit of Sweetwater River agate looks pretty good. You know what? I need to have a close-up look at these. These might be okay, even though I don't think it was actually getting all that good at tumbling action. But I did run it for another week, so maybe that helped, huh? Let me dump this crud off, and we'll take a look in the bottom of it. Down here in the bottom, this black stuff is the grit I put in. And I guess it's actually been broken down some. I mean, it's not broken down to a really fine mud, but it's been broken down. Okay. Let's take a look at these. And
close-up look. Let's take a close-up look at these rocks and see what we got. See if they're ready to move on. Well, I've had a chance to take a close-up look at a lot of these, and I think they're ready to go on to fine grit, the pre-polish. So, yeah, they are very smooth for the most part. I mean, some of these have areas that are never going to smooth out, no matter what. And I might recycle them. I mean, the bottom of this one right here. I call that the bottom, I don't know. I mean, most of this is really nice, but this section right here is really rough. That's never going to smooth out. I will probably recycle this back into rough grit on my next batch. And there's a few others like that in here that have some areas that just aren't going to smooth out unless they go back into rough grit for a long time, like this one right here has got a rough area. But some of these are just really nice looking. They are ready. Go into fine grit. I can't wait to see these big pieces of banded iron polished up, and some of these pieces of petrified wood in here. So I cleaned the drum out really well, so I'll get these back in the drum with pre-polish. And adding more water didn't help with the foaming, so I'm going to try adding less water this time. Maybe that'll help keep it a little less foamy in there. We'll see. Chime in the comments and let me know what you think works best. More or less water, or if there's any additives I can use that will help. Let me know, because I'm still fairly new at this. Thanks. Alright, so the rocks can go back in here. I think some of these are going to clean up nice. Some of them, like I say, are probably going to have to get cycled back around to the next batch of rough. I do. Thinking it's also possible I'm just not filling this thing up enough. I did build it to be a high capacity tumbler, and well, I don't have it that full. I could put some ceramics in there, I suppose. That might be an idea too. Let me try that. Yeah, I've got some used ceramic media here that I used with my last batch I tumbled in my small polisher. So these were last in polish. I don't have to worry about them having big grit on them. And there's a few shards of rock in here that I left in there just because, hey, the ceramic media is expensive. The rock's, well, free. So we'll fill this up a little bit more. And I'm going to put a little less water in it than I have been. So that just comes just a little below the top of the ceramic media. I'm going to pour some off. This is going to be a somewhat drier mix. We'll see how this works. Maybe I'll check on it after a few days. It looks like it's too dry. Put some more water in. I'm still experimenting. Like I said, feel free to leave comments, suggestions. You old hands at tumbling out there, let me know. So I don't think I'm getting good tumbling action when the barrel fills up with foam like it tends to do. So trying to reduce that. Oh, and by the way, this is 500 pre-polish that I just put in there. And I didn't put in as much as I've been putting in with the other polishes, because I don't think with the finer grits you need quite as much. I could be wrong about that, but that's the gut feeling I get about it. Okay? Okay, let's get you back on the tumbler. That sounds like we got some good tumbling action going. It was sounding a lot muffled, a lot more muffled before, but it was full of foam. So we'll see what this sounds like after a day or two. See if it all foams up in there again. I'll also check and see if it needs more water, if it looks like it's too dry. Well, just gotta let it go now. Check on it in a couple days. Or sooner if problems develop. Well, this has been going for a couple of days, so I want to take a look inside and see what it looks like. It definitely sounds like there's more action going on than there has been in the past, like with the medium grit. I mean, it got all foamy and it got quiet and muffled in there, but this is sounding like, yeah, it's sounding like there's still some tumbling going on in there. So I just want to take a look inside and see what it looks like. I don't think I'll dump it out. I don't think. I just want to take a look. Well, I don't know how well that's showing up down in there. We're definitely getting some foam, but not as much as in the past. Maybe that's due to using less water. I don't know. The filler. So what happens when you change two variables in the experiment. You don't know which is responsible. But, okay, I'm just going to put the lid back on and let it run and see what it's like after about a week. Alright, this has been going for about another week, and I think it's about time to have a peek inside because it's starting to sound muffled again. Like maybe we're getting that foam issue and it's cushioning everything in there. So it did really sound like we had some really good action going on early on. But now, yeah, it's starting to sound muffled again. Now, you may notice I've made some changes here. I found some sheet vinyl, soft stuff, and I have put bands of it around either end of the big tube here where it hits the rollers. And that's giving me a lot more traction. The rubber bands on the rollers, although this one looks like it's about shot, last a lot longer. They don't break nearly as often. They don't walk off nearly as often. And I get a lot better traction against the drum here. Even without the rubber bands, the drum will turn, but we get much better traction with the rubber bands, especially when there's a good load like now in the drum. So, yeah, I'm pretty happy with this solution. This soft vinyl that I've wrapped around here really is helping out a lot. But I think it's time to have a look inside the drum and see what's going on because it's starting to sound muffled. I'll bet we've got a foam issue again.
Alright, let's see what in the wide world of sports is going on inside this drum. Making it sound so muffled. I suspect I know. Well, actually, it's not that bad. Okay. It's not that bad. A lot more liquidy than usual. Interesting. It just sounds muffled, I guess. Not really muffled. Going on in here. Ooh. These are feeling pretty darn smooth. Well, they're feeling pretty darn smooth. I think I need to, wow, yeah, that feels really smooth. Take them out under the lab bench lights and have a look at them, as per usual. Yeah, get the rest of the goop off of them. And we'll see what there is to see, huh? Okay.
Wow, some of these are looking really sweet, and they feel really, really smooth. Yeah. Nice, nice. I think probably most of these are ready to go on. Most, maybe not all, maybe not this one. I don't know, some of these rocks may never actually smooth out perfectly, but I think a lot of them, I mean, the petrified wood always finishes up first. It must be slightly softer than this other stuff. This flame jasper, this is always gorgeous. But, yeah, a lot of this other stuff is looking pretty darn good. Even some stuff that I wasn't sure would polish up. Super smooth. I think that the banded iron is probably the hardest stuff in here. And some of it's still slightly rough feeling. Well, this jasper's slightly rough too. So I think what I'm going to do is put them back in the drum with some more of the 500 grit pre-polish and let them go for a few more days. I mean, they are almost there, but some of them not quite, in my humble opinion. So we'll put it back in the drum and let them go for a few more days. But boy, they are getting there. Alright, so I'm pretty happy with the progress they're making. They are coming along. I'm hoping after just a few more days with this pre-polish, we'll be ready to go on to polishing. I'll put all this tumbling media back in here too, and all these little stone shards that are broken off. Pre-tumbling media, I call that stuff. Because this ceramic stuff you got to pay for. Oh yeah, there's that arrowhead-shaped piece of flame jasper. That is just gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. I didn't even cut it like that. Just naturally assumed that shape. Okay, in we go with some water. Put it about the same amount as last time because that seemed to work really good. Not quite up to the top of the rocks in the media. And again, I'll do the same as last time. I put in 2 heaping spoonfuls of this stuff. 500 grit pre-polish. This all worked really well, so not changing a thing. Lid back on and get it spinning again. Look at it in a few days. Okay, back onto the tumbler. I guess once the stones reach this stage, they just don't make as much noise. I was expecting to find that full of foam, but it's not. It's working good. Alright, see you in a few days. Alright, let's see what these rocks look like. My intention had been to run this for only a few extra days, but I got hung up with some other stuff, and these have been going for the better part of a week. So, let's see how they look. Well, it's not the way they always look when they first come out. But they look like they're ready to go on to polish.
I will thoroughly clean out the drum beforehand. Ooh, they are super smooth. Super smooth. Maybe those extra few days helped a lot. Okay, we'll go look at them close up on the bench.
Alright, let's have a look here. Oh, that is super smooth, but this is one of the ones that always gets smooth. This is one of the ones that's been rough the whole time, and it still has some rough spots, but I'll tell you what, it is mostly smoothed out. This one, wow, that almost feels polished. That one feels polished too, even though I know they're not. When they dry out, they'll have a film on them, or they'll look, when they dry out, they'll look dull, but then they feel polished. This feels really nice, except for where it's got a line of pits here, but those pits are never going to clean up unless it goes back into rough for a long time. And, well, I think that's the show side anyway. Let's see here. Keep them wet. That's pretty nice. Of course, the petrified wood's ready. The petrified wood's been ready for a while. Oh, yeah. I think these are definitely ready to go into polish. There's a few of these that may not polish up nice, may get recycled back to the next batch, but I think the bulk of them are ready, if not beyond ready, to go into polish. So that's what we'll do. I'll go clean out the drum really well, and we'll get these things into polish. In maybe about 2 weeks, we'll have some really, really pretty rocks here. Okay, well, I'm really stoked that my homemade polisher is working so good that we're going to be getting our first batch through it here into polish. Excellent. I'll put all this stuff back in. I have cleaned the drum out really, really well. I have washed the stones off really, really well. And I'm going to start up again here. Put all this stuff back in here. Now this ceramic media here was actually used in the last batch I ran through my small polisher, and those turned out with just like a mirror finish on them. So I'm going to put this stuff right back in here. Now I have some plastic media too, and I may try that in the future, but right now we're going to go with the ceramic stuff. Okay, so I got that in there. Let me get some water in. And not too much. Just below the tops of the rocks and the media. Okay? That seems to be what works best. And then I've got some of this cheap Chinese aluminum oxide polish. They came with a kit with my small tumbler. Now, I have to say I am not thrilled with the polish I get from this stuff, but I'm going to use it anyway because I see it as, you know, if the last step was pre-polish, I see this as initial polish, this stuff. Okay? Because those stones do benefit from this. But what I will probably do after a week or so of using this stuff is I will probably clean the drum out, clean the stones again, and then put them back in here with some proper cerium oxide polish. And I found that this first and then the cerium oxide results in a really, really good polish. So that's what we're going to do again. So however you want to look at it, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, or don't mess with success. I'm going to just duplicate what I did last time that worked so well. Just takes patience, you know. You want this to be done so quick, but really, there is no hurrying it. It takes time. Okay, let's get it started and check it in a week or so. And I think I'll end this video here. We'll be back in the next video and see what the polished rocks look like and see how well this went. Alright, so hope to see you in that video. Thanks for watching this one. Subscribe to see my future videos. Check out my second channel, Electric Geek 64. Good stuff there if you're at all interested in electronics or retro computing. And I will see you in the next video. Have a good one. Bye.